everybody. My name is Ola DE FREITAS, and I'm the CEO and founder of Goo Technologies. We are a company based in Stockholm, Sweden, and we are true believers in HTML5 and WebGL and the fact that it will change the world. So I'm going to start by telling you a story about my friend and former colleague, Fred. Fred works for a company that has built its entire business on Flash. And it's a really profitable business, too. So Fred loves Flash, right? Fred is an art director, I may say. He loves Flash because great tools, as we saw just before here, and the fact that you can distribute your content throughout the web through the use of the Flash plugin. However, there's one little problem with Flash, and anybody knows this little device, right? When it was launched, somebody from California called Steve decided that Flash wasn't what he liked, basically. So, and this is obviously a problem for Fred. So Fred and his company, they're starting to ask their questions about Flash. I mean, they've developed their entire business on this platform, and they're wondering, what's happening here? Are we going to be able to continue doing what we're doing, or do we need to find something else? So they're starting to look around, one of the things that are out there is obviously HTML5. So the question is, can HTML5 help Fred and his business? Well, if you start to look deeper into HTML5, you will pretty soon find this statement from Mark Zuckerberg, which is kind of scary if you're someone that are used to using Flash and used to being on a platform that works. I mean, Mark Zuckerberg clearly stated a year ago that HTML5 just isn't there yet. But we need to put this into some kind of context that makes sense, right? So when did Mark Zuckerberg say this about HTML5? Well, like Nick said, 4 years ago, everybody was like super psyched about HTML5. Everybody wanted to try it out. Everybody jumped on the ship, and there were really great promises around it, but it just wasn't there yet. So to be honest, I mean, HTML5 didn't work back then. And that's what Mark said, it's not working, it's not performant. I can't get the responsiveness on my apps and games that I want. So a lot of people sort of, okay, HTML5 is not going to work. Let's continue doing what we're doing, stick to that. But a lot of people also continued working on HTML5, which I'm going to show you here. I mean, if you look at browser support, for instance, there's great browser support for HTML5, or a large portion of it on Chrome, Firefox, Safari, Opera, and Internet Explorer 11's got great HTML5 support. If you look at the device side of things, there's a lot of really, really great things happening there. Chipset manufacturers, they're doing whatever they can to make HTML5 run beautifully on all devices, we know that. I mean, the promise is, I think, really, really exciting because it means that you can pick up your game, you can play it on your smartphone, you can play it on your tablet, you can play it on your smart TV, and you'll be able to pretty much bring your games and apps with you wherever you are on whatever screen you're using. And also, I mean, looking into the future, if you're developing something today, you don't know what device is going to be out there next year, next month, which makes it kind of difficult if you're doing native. But if you're doing HTML5, as long as there's a browser out there, you will be able to run your game and app on that new device, which I think is really, really cool. Okay, so I mean, my conclusion, I don't know if you agree with me, but I think that HTML5 is definitely moving in the right direction. We're checking more and more boxes every day, and there's more and more people, starting to use it. So what does WebGL bring to the table here? So let's start by understanding what WebGL is. So WebGL is a subset of OpenGL ES, which is a subset of OpenGL. And OpenGL, everybody knows what OpenGL is. I'm going to read. OpenGL is an open specification functions which shall be accessible to a programmer via a software API. So it's basically used to draw 2D and 3D graphics onto a screen, right? And OpenGL ES is the same thing, but for embedded systems. So you are using OpenGL ES in your mobile device. And what WebGL is a subset of OpenGL ES that is designed for mobile and desktop web browsers. And this is really, really exciting, because what WebGL does is, for the first time in the browser history, you can access hardware from your browser, which gives you a lot of horsepower that wasn't there before, right? So you can create some pretty awesome games and apps by the use of WebGL. And referring back to what Mark Zuckerberg said, he had a problem with that it wasn't smooth, that it wasn't responsive. WebGL solves that, because you have hardware acceleration, right? So then it becomes kind of interesting. So, but WebGL, it's just a part of HTML5, and there's a lot of other things to it. But without trying to explain to you how powerful it is, I'm going to try to show you instead. So hope this works. Just give me a moment here. It's getting there? Yay, it's getting there. Okay. So what you're looking at is a Chrome browser. This is, and also Battlefield Heroes, which is Electronic Arts, one of the Electronic Arts' largest online productions, and it's done by the Easy Studio Stockholm. And this is a project we did like a year ago with them, but it's a really cool demo, so I wanted to show you it anyways. So what we've done is that we've taken part of the game and put it on our engine, which is called the Goo Engine, which is a JavaScript engine with WebGL. We've taken the game, put it on the engine. It took us 4 weeks, and I think the results are pretty impressive. So let's see if I can make this run off of here. It's not the greatest position to play a game, but as with all modern browsers, you can obviously go to full screen, and you can do mouse lock, and off you go. And there's supposed to be sound as well, I think. Maybe. Can you hear anything? Oh yeah, there's sound. So I mean, this is my business laptop. There's nothing special to it, but you can actually make a first-person shooter game run in a browser. No plugins, no downloads. And when I saw this the first time, I thought, this is impressive stuff, right? I mean, frame rate is okay. It's not the full game; it's just a demo. But it definitely gives you a perspective of what WebGL is adding to HTML5 and browser gaming. Do you agree with me? Yeah. Okay, so let's see if we can get back to where we were in the presentation. Right? So, I mean, you can do some pretty advanced graphical stuff using WebGL due to the fact that you have hardware access. And we love that because it gives you a lot of sort of creative freedom. You can create amazing graphics. This is another game we've done at Goo Technologies. It's something we did to show cross-device capabilities of HTML5 and WebGL. It's called Pearl Boy. It runs on a smartphone, it runs on a tablet, it runs on a desktop, and it runs on smart TV. Same code, same game, which is pretty darn cool. And it's 3D graphics, but WebGL is also good. I mean, we're talking a lot about 3D here, but WebGL is also good for 2D. This is, I don't know if you can see, but it's the game Limbo. It's a native game, but it could have been done with using WebGL. If you're using Canvas 2D, which is what is available today, you would never be able to do that and get a game that is playable due to the sort of blurry effects and stuff in the background. But using WebGL, you can implement shaders in a 2D and 2.5D game. So that's pretty cool. which takes me to the next point here, which is the fact that you get horsepower, which I've been talking to you about before. You get a lot of performance. And the reason is because you're processing on the hardware side instead of the software side, which makes the game frame rate much better and much faster. And it also adds another really cool thing, which is the fact that it saves energy, right? Less time processing, longer battery life, you can continue to play the game. So, I mean, you're getting performance, you're getting longer battery life, and due to the fact that you have the performance, you can put some really awesome stuff on the screen, which gives you more creative room to do some really cool games for the browser. So this is all great. However, there's one big problem with WebGL. And that is the fact that if you want to use WebGL today, you need to be a developer. And you need to be a fairly skilled developer, because you have to code everything from scratch. And coding towards the WebGL APIs, that is advanced coding. It takes a lot of work to do that. So, back to Fred. He's not the developer. He doesn't have those skills. So what can Fred do if he wants to use WebGL or access the power of WebGL today? Well, he can try to program everything himself. That's not going to happen because, being an art director, he's not gonna ever going to get there. He could use a framework, but it still, requires some serious JavaScript knowledge in order to make something that looks, for instance, like the Battlefield Heroes demo I just showed you. Or you can hire a developer, but, where are you going to find someone? And it could be costly and so forth. So, to be honest, the current WebGL options make no sense for Fred. I mean, you need to be really, talented JavaScript developer in order to access this power. And what that means to me is that if you want to take really cool games and put them on the HTML5 platform, like what the type of games that Fred are developing, it's difficult to do that today, basically. And this is one of the reasons why I'm standing here, because I saw this fantastic power in WebGL a couple of years ago, and I was like, wow, this is super cool. Showing this to people are like, wow, this is so cool. Can you really do this in a browser? And then me and my friend Rickard, who's the CTO and the guy behind all of these engines, and the Goo Engine, the graphics engine we have, we decided to start a company and try to do something to bring the power of WebGL to the world, to everybody else, so that we can get some more really cool games, browser games out there. And currently, we are working on, so we have the engine, which we used for that game, and we're working on tools to put out there into the market. So these are some GUI sketches of the sketches of the tools that we are currently working on. They are planned for launch end of October and this year. And when they are launched, they will include some of the basic features. Nothing, it's not the Unity, obviously. So basic features like you'll be able to import objects, animations, scenes. You'll be able to, you have an editor. You'll be able to edit textures, put lighting, put cameras. You'll be able to, there's obviously scripting if you want to do JavaScript, and there's a state machine if you can't do JavaScript, like, Unity's Playmaker, and it's going to be a standard library so that you can get started, pretty much, among other things. So it will be still a fairly potent platform. And as I said, we want to bring this to as many people as possible. So it will be a cloud service that you can access. You can always, if you want to use the engine, you can always use that. But this will be a cloud service. Develop on the web for the web and deploy on the web, basically. We think that makes sense. So it's a cloud service. You subscribe to it. It's going to be extremely affordable. And, well, we're pretty much just trying to bring the power of WebGL to people like Fred and hopefully like you guys. So if you're interested in this and want to bring some really, really cool games out there, follow us. So to sum up, HTML5 is getting there, I think. And due to the fact that WebGL is being part of HTML5 as well, we're solving some of the problems that we have seen with HTML5. in terms of performance and responsiveness and being able to make really cool graphical stuff on HTML5. So, but then, Fred has this problem. There are no tools, there are no tech. That's something that Goo Technologies is bringing to the market. And we hope that when that happens, and believe also that there's going to be some awesome browser games being developed for HTML5. That is what we're hoping for. And if you're interested in this, we already have an alpha up and going on gooengine.com that you can sign up for. I think there's a little bit more than 1,000 developers on it already. Yeah, feel free to join the movement around WebGL.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm sure people have some questions. I'm going to start off with a quick question. So what is it, Goo? Is it an engine? Is it a framework? Is it a set of tools? Explicitly, what is it that the Goo service is providing? And then what's the business model? Is it licensed? Is it paid? What does it cost to use?
All right. So it is an engine, but it's also tools, right? So an engine for the people that want to do JavaScript and tools for the people that don't know how to do the scripting, right? Or tools for the people that want to make it more efficient. Like, for instance, our CTO, he would never use that. He would code it away from scratch anyways, but that's him. Did that answer your question? And then in terms of business model. Okay, so this is a subscription-based model. So today, if you want to use the engine and access the APIs, that's for free. You can do that. You create whatever you want on that. But if you want to access the tools, you will have to subscribe. It's like a creative cloud. I mean, it's on the web. You subscribe and you pay we're thinking about $40 a month per user per seat. So it's really affordable. That's on a monthly basis. So you're not taking any financial risk. You can try it out. If it doesn't work for you, you can move elsewhere.
Yeah, at the beginning of the talk, you held up an iPhone and said Flash doesn't work on that. Neither does WebGL. So I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Good point. Yeah. So WebGL actually works really, really well on iPhones, but they haven't enabled it yet. So yeah. So I don't have the answers. Nobody knows what Apple they're thinking, but we know that pretty much all the other big players are making it work. So we believe and hope that it's going to start, that Apple will do that as well. The intel we have is that it's a security issue. They want to make sure that their device won't ever blue screen. Yeah, but we don't know. So that's true, yeah. So just to answer your question, another thing there. I mean, right now, I would say that WebGL is for people that want to deploy on desktop primarily. Mobile is not there yet, but it's getting there really fast. That's what I would say.
So your cloud-based service, does it include, are all your assets stored in the cloud as well? So you're serving all of your assets for your game from the cloud?
If you want to, you can do that, yeah.
That's what you guys would provide as well.
Yeah, we can provide that, exactly.
Can it also work the other way where we just load off local assets?
Exactly, yeah. You can use it, whatever way you want.
Question?
There's some new mobile operating systems, upcoming mobile operating systems like Tizen, some of the other ones, Firefox as well, which are completely web-based or web technologies based. So how do you see WebGL kind of penetrating or exposing itself in those operating systems, specifically the Firefox OS?
We see that as a really big opportunity, actually, because for those type of devices that run Firefox OS, which, I mean, there are millions and millions of devices getting into the market. So the only way for them to be able to provide, I mean, they don't have the native games. They can't provide those. Everything is HTML5, right? So in order for them to be able to provide really cool games, they need to make WebGL work, basically. So we have some good discussions with Mozilla on that and also with Telefonica, trying out the tech and making it work as good as possible. But the devices that are out there right now, they're still not, potent enough. But there will be some interesting devices coming towards the end of this year that we think could run WebGL really well.
So do you see that as a takeoff point for WebGL on mobile devices?
Yeah, I think so. That could be a really interesting takeoff point. And it's, I mean, if you're a game developer, I think it's a really interesting opportunity because there are a lot of devices that will be shipped on this, on Firefox OS. And they are looking for content, so you can get featured in their store and stuff like that.
Okay, we've officially run out of time. Ola, thank
Okay.
you very much
Thank
for the
you.
presentation. And
Yeah.
I'm going to set up the next one. We'll set it 5 minutes.